What's up, guys, and welcome to One Take. I'm Gil, and today I'll be reviewing Terminator Dark Fate. This will be a spoiler-free review, though I may share some of my spoiler-filled thoughts in a separate video. With that, let's get into it. Terminator Dark Fate, or Terminator 6, or Terminator 3, depending on how you look at it, is a movie I was cautiously optimistic for. For the first time in years, the franchise was back in James Cameron's hands, and although he wasn't writing or directing, it seemed like he was going to play a pretty large role in the creative process. Not only that, but it was also revealed that Linda Hamilton was returning as Sarah Connor, and everything after Terminator 2 was being ignored. That was enough to get me hyped, because Terminator 2 isn't just a great movie to me, but it's something I grew up with. I remember recording it to VHS when it aired as one of WB's Saturday afternoon movies. I remember watching and rewatching that tape until it wore out. I remember finally seeing Terminator 1 and eventually seeing Terminator 2 uncut and not edited for TV. Hearing that a Terminator 3 was in development nearly 20 years ago is what led me to scour the web in search of rumors and news. Strangely enough, my obsession with learning as much as I could about Terminator 3 was a large part of what introduced me to the world of film. Unfortunately, although a serviceable and totally watchable movie, Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines taught me the disappointment of an overhyped sequel. I remember after years of build-up leaving the theater confused. What the hell happened? Terminator was great. Terminator 2 Judgment Day was incredible. Why was Terminator 3 just okay? Why did it feel so inessential next to the classics that came before it? That brings us to today, 16 years later. I'm a grown man, I'm wiser, more weary, and more cautious when it comes to hype. But James Cameron, producer, and Tim Miller, director, told me everything I wanted to hear. Could they save the franchise? Could they finally make a true successor to Terminator 2? More importantly, would my 14-year-old self's quest to see the Terminator story continue in a satisfying way finally be complete? I hate to say that the answer is no. The search continues, and judging by the box office results this past weekend, this franchise may finally be dead, and with it, my hopes and dreams. The truth is, there are some things to like about Terminator Dark Fate. If you've seen the trailers, you know that Grace, played by Mackenzie Davis, is an enhanced human. Someone capable of not quite holding their own, but at least making some sort of a meaningful stand against a Terminator. Following the template of previous films in this franchise, she's been sent to the past to protect Danny, someone important to our world's future. Grace is an immediately compelling character, as Mackenzie Davis plays her with an uncompromising will to fight, offset by true emotional and physical vulnerability. Every scene she's in is permeated by her overwhelming need to ensure her mission is a success. Although the movie is extremely uneven, I often found myself caring because of how much Grace cared. I felt a desire to see her succeed and felt my stomach twist as she struggled against impossible odds. Her face consistently communicated emotional turmoil at the possibility of failure and an understanding that, if necessary, her life is expendable. Unfortunately, Grace isn't the only character in this movie. It pains me to say this, but somehow Sarah Connor, played once again by Linda Hamilton, was a huge drag on this movie. We watched her character grow from vulnerable and helpless in T1 to super badass and slightly unhinged in T2. In this film, all that nuance is gone, and she has been transformed into a one-note action movie parody. I actually felt myself go from liking this movie to hating it in a span of minutes as soon as she showed up and uttered her first cringe-worthy line of the film. "I'll be back." Her character isn't all bad. There are one or two moments where she has to display some big emotions. In those scenes, Linda Hamilton kills it, and if you're a Terminator fan, those moments will hit you hard. Unfortunately, in just about every other scene, when she isn't given anything to do besides deliver cheesy one-liners, her character is cringeworthy and off-putting. I found myself putting my head in my hands, almost embarrassed to have brought others to see this movie with me. Schwarzenegger, on the other hand, was fine in his role, delivering his lines in all their robot Terminator glory. However, his and Linda Hamilton's introductions into this movie ultimately felt less like an organic step in the story and more like an interruption to Danny and Grace's journey. It made this feel less like a movie and more like another episode in a franchise. I also take some serious issue with aspects of Schwarzenegger's story in this movie, but I'll save that for spoiler talk. Before wrapping up, I'll give the movie one more compliment in recognizing that they built a pretty cool villain Terminator for Gabriel Luna to play. There are flashes of Robert Patrick's T-1000 mixed with a new ability for the Terminator to essentially split in two, a metallic skeleton on one side and a T-1000-esque liquid Terminator on the other. He also moves in an almost animalistic, sometimes insect-like manner at times, which brings back some of the creepiness that's been lacking since Terminator 1. However, the movie ultimately fails for me in its refusal to serve up any interesting characters besides Grace. Danny starts off as someone compelling, but is ultimately betrayed by an arc that felt unearned and pretty much fell flat. It also makes a handful of attempts at plot twists or surprise reveals, but these, like Sarah Connor in this film, are almost cringeworthy in how predictable they are. Like I said earlier, the movie isn't all bad. I loved Grace's character. Schwarzenegger's Terminator, although marred by some silly plot elements, was a joy to watch, and most of the action was pretty solid. However, when you're competing with movies like John Wick nowadays, your action has to be pretty incredible if you're relying on that alone to sell your movie in lieu of strong plot or characters. Anyway, I think that about wraps it up. Unfortunately, Terminator Dark Fate is not doing well at the box office, so I suspect it'll be a while before Terminator returns. But when it does, I'll be waiting for it, older, wiser, and still holding on to the hope felt by that 14-year-old in 2003 watching a Terminator movie on the big screen for the first time. Enough from me, though. What did you think of Dark Fate? Am I being too hard on this movie, or were you as disappointed by it as I was? What would you want to see from future Terminator movies? Leave a comment below and let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and hit the little bell icon to make sure you get notifications whenever we release more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back.